I'm Bill Woolsey with the FiveTwo Network, and today on our show, I'm with Todd Lafferty of the International Mission Board. Todd's also a member of the board of Missio Nexus, the conference, the Innovate Conference, where we are and doing all this filming. So, Todd, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bill. Great to be with you. It's an exciting time here with almost 1,000 people in person for this meeting.
Yeah, it's like everybody's first outing, it feels like, in the whole post-COVID thing.
I think people are excited like they're going back for their first semester of their second year in college.
Second year in college. They know what the first year was
They
like.
know what it's like now.
They want.
Yeah.
Well, Todd, tell us a little bit about your organization, especially the IMB, and your role, et cetera, for our listeners.
All right, thanks, Bill. I'm the Executive Vice President with the International Mission Board. Been in this role about 2.5 years after serving 29 years overseas in South and Southeast Asia. So our goal really is to see the gospel go to the ends of the earth so that every nation, tribe, people, and language has an opportunity to hear the gospel. And our heart is to plant churches among those groups, that they would become self-sustaining groups and begin to reach people groups around them as well.
Super. So I assume, Todd, you work with, would you say you serve church planters especially? Is that who y'all would serve, or how would you define that?
Well, first of all, we serve our churches to help get them on mission, because if they're not backing us and working together with us, then we're not going anywhere. We are a convention of churches that seek to reach the nations, and so we serve our Southern Baptist churches as well. But on the field, we are raising up national church planters. That's our heart, to raise them up and turn them loose, empower them to do the work, because there'll never be enough foreign missionaries, international missionaries. It's going to take our national partners really having a passion to reach their own people.
Amen to that. You know, our heart and our network is more people know Jesus. We use entrepreneurship to help that happen, and we invest in those men and women who love to start stuff, which sounds exactly what you're doing. So as you think about those men and women that you're seeking to start these churches, what would you say, Todd, leads them to go from, I think I have this calling, to actually taking the steps and following God's calling in that?
Well, of course, they do have to have that inward sense of, this is what I need to do with my life, that God is truly calling them. And then finding that place. I've served as a Canada consultant for a time and helping people work through that location that God is taking them to, and looking at their gifts and their skill set. You know, where are they coming out of a medical field? Are they coming out of business? Are they coming out of education? Are they just right out of seminary? And so what would be the best place for them to really use their gifts to impact the kingdom? And so we look at a lot of variables that would help them find that location where they would go and try to reach those people.
Yeah, it reminds me, early on in church planning, we had a person, place, and plan were the 3 Ps.
That's right.
And similar to what you're saying, we focus a lot on who's that customer God's called you to serve.
Right.
You can't reach somebody you hate, so you got to really love them, right?
Amen.
And that's something people don't
and God
fully
has
understand.
to give you that love.
That's exactly
That's right. And He does.
That's exactly
He
right.
does.
If He does it, you should move and go find something else.
Probably do that. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Well, Todd, what about in today, as you work with these individuals, what particular challenge, what would you say is one of the biggest challenges you keep encountering that they're facing?
Well, I think in our day and time, it's one big thing is access. With AI and facial recognition in many countries today,
Oh, wow.
you have to have a good reason to be in their country. Many of us know of one particular country that pretty much kicked out every missionary that was known there.
Yes, we know that.
And they were known because the government knew exactly who they were. They had their facial recognition.
I never thought of that.
And they had simultaneous interrogations of personnel in that country. So they knew exactly who was there and what they were doing. And
so when you say access, you mean the ability to go into that country?
I mean the ability to get into that country. And then from there, you've got to have good entry strategies to connect with the people. You have to have a good reason to be there. They're asking you, why are you here? What are you doing in my country? You got to have a good answer for that. And so in many of these high security areas, you have to be very smart and have a plan ahead of time in order to go in. You mentioned the entrepreneurial aspect.
Yeah, business mission is huge with us.
This
right?
is huge. This is the future of missions in many places around the world. There's still places you can go and get your missionary visa, but those places are becoming fewer and fewer. And so we've got to have good, solid identities and reasons to be in the country to add value to the work that you're doing, but also to do the work that God's called you to do at the same time.
Back in the early 2000 teens, a good friend of mine who was area director for Asia for United World Missions.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the one that introduced me to Business's Mission and said this very same thing. He said, Bill, if I go into a country and they go, what do you do for a living? I go, nothing. They're like, that doesn't work,
I'm a missionary. It just doesn't cut it anymore.
Doesn't cut it anymore.
Right.
So the whole Business's Mission and teaching leadership from a godly perspective or whatever it may be.
That's right. Well, we had Brazilians come to one of our countries as the national soccer coach. Now that's a pretty good platform. But also our national partners also need that as well in many places to get into locations. And so building a water pot factory and having our national partners trained to go as salesmen into villages where they wouldn't be welcome otherwise, but they're bringing clean water to villages that have never had clean water. The ability to have clean water, to take the dirty water they have next door instead of walking a mile or two to get water. And so that gives them access as well.
Access, right there. Well, Todd, if people wanted to get more information, how do they contact you? Where do they go?
You can go to tlafferty@imb.org, and email is easy. At jtoddl on Twitter as well. So love to connect.
Super. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. Great to be with you, Bill.